A couple of days ago, the Lotus Eaters, which is a news organization, has gotten demonetized off YouTube. They received an email stating that one of the accounts that they associate with has been demonetized, and as such, they're going to get demonetized as well. And they have, I believe it's like 30 days to fix it, and then they can file an appeal, and YouTube is going to look at their channel again. However, they're being very vague about the reason, so they don't really know what has happened, but they can assume is due to the fact that Sargon of Akkad's main channel has been demonetized years ago, and because Sargon of Akkad owns the Lotus Eaters, then the demonetization carries over. But it's interesting that it took several years for this to happen, and they don't really know how to fix it, given the fact that Sargon's account is not associated with the YouTube account in any way. The Lotus Eaters is a separate business entity. The name of Sargon of Akkad or his email is not associated to their YouTube account, so chances are they're going to remain demonetized. However, today they also got a community guideline strike, apparently for bullying the Grammys. Now, I haven't watched their video because I cannot, as it's being taken down. So I do not know if they said anything disparaging within the video to any of the actors that partook at the Grammys. But I do have a feeling on why this has happened, because I have seen it happen several times on YouTube, and I do not think that YouTube as a platform has any way of protecting creators from this type of attacks. You see, whenever someone gets demonetized or someone big gets a strike, it signals to the public that they are vulnerable, that they are in a weak position. Now, if you look at YouTube's TOS, you would notice that there's a big compendium of them, and most of them are incredibly vague. Now, if you have a content creator which uploads content for several hours a day, every day of the week, well, you end up with a large volume of work. And all it takes is 5 or 10 individuals to start combing through this large volume of work until they find something that can remotely brush up against the TOS. And by repeatedly flagging the person, eventually you get lucky. This is very similar to what happened to Joe Rogan. Like, people went through years of his content and found several occasions when he used the N-word. Many times he used the N-word in order to report on the news. Like, he would say, this individual said the N-word and got fired. But he didn't say the N-word, he actually used it. And this was from years ago. And then they made an entire compilation that went for like 40, 50 seconds with Joe Rogan just saying the N-bomb over and over and over again, right? So it looks very bad. But this is the tactic that's being employed. And as we saw against Steven Crowder, against the Lotus Eaters, it's an effective tactic. If you have a large number of people with a huge amount of time on their hand that go through the content that a YouTuber releases on a daily basis, given the fact that the terms of service on YouTube are so vague, and given the fact that they are so many in nature, then eventually the activists get lucky. Unless, of course, the channel is protected by YouTube. For instance, I don't think that we will ever see the Young Turks getting a strike, or CNN getting a strike. I would remind people that CNN actually has footage with children dying from a gas attack in Syria. Like, that is on their channel, and if I were to upload something like that, I do believe that my channel would be terminated. But if you're a different type of creator, like for example, a mainstream media outlet, or if you happen to be close connected with the people at YouTube, then, well, the laws don't apply. So what is the solution? Well, it depends. You know, like if YouTube actually cares about this and wants to help creators feel more safe, or if not. Personally, I would say that if a video has been on the platform for 3 months, and it has not gotten any problems, right? Like no one complained, then maybe the system should be a little bit more relaxed. That would be one solution, right? Especially like if the video has managed to get hundreds of thousands of views and really no one said anything about it. Then clearly, if at one point it's being taken down, it's malicious. And if YouTube wants, it should be able to remove the video, but do not issue a strike on the channel. At least that would be one thing, you know, but I doubt that YouTube actually wants to solve this problem, which means that, well, a lot of content creators that talk politics are going to move over to Rumble. And I did see that Rumble is becoming more and more popular, especially since the Crowder incident and especially since more content creators are going there, eventually it will reach a bigger critical mass. I mean, this is why Joe Rogan has decided to stop uploading on YouTube. Crowder has gone there, as I mentioned before. The Lotus Eaters and many others are, feeling unsafe on using the platform because you're putting all of your eggs in one basket, and all it takes is a couple of individuals that do not like you to start going through the backlog of your channel. And of course, despite the fact that many people do try to follow the community guidelines and they do try to sanitize their content, it's rarely enough. So it is what it is. Basically, YouTube does not accept mistakes, right? Like, it only takes one word, one sentence in a 2-hour video, and bam. Now, unfortunately, the real issue with this is that of self-censorship. A lot of people are going to not say things which are within the terms of service, but they are afraid that if they say something, it may or may not be a violation. So you're going to see people becoming more boring, which is what YouTube has become. If you use the Wayback Machine and you look at some videos from 2016 YouTube, 2014, they are incredibly entertaining, especially the Young Turks. Like, the Young Turks were absolutely hilarious. I played a couple of videos from them from back in the day. Hassan Piker, who used to be the professor and was giving people advice on how to date women. Very good videos. But unfortunately, no one does that anymore because people are afraid. Like, if you do that, you're going to upset the activists and they're going to employ the tactic that has been employed against the Lotus Eaters. And this is why YouTube is a boring platform. So it's not about politics necessarily. It's about the fact that, well, people just don't create anymore. Because imagine someone like Meat Canyons, who probably spends entire weeks in order to create one video. And when it's finally done, he uploads it on YouTube. And then boom, his entire channel gets demonetized. Right? So he starts to wonder, like, do I still do this? Do I use another platform? And then maybe you start self-censoring a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then your content becomes boring. It's a Gundam. It's a very good example. It's a Gundam, hilarious channel. I do sometimes talk to the guy in DMs. He's still very hilarious. He's still very funny. But realistically speaking, he is right. Like, he has to sanitize his content because YouTube went after him, started age restricting some of his videos, started demonetizing other videos, started giving him strikes. And eventually, he had to tone down the humor. And now his channel isn't bad, but it's definitely not as good as it used to be. And, YouTube is becoming the new television. It's becoming the new cable, unfortunately. Especially since back in 2018, YouTubers were BTFOing cable TV in ratings. You would look at the YouTube political commentators, they were decimating the mainstream media. And then the mainstream media decided to attack the platform. The platform started sanitizing with the apocalypse and whatnot. And, well, we are at the level where YouTube is definitely becoming the new cable. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.